again.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today is finally the day and I am starting the process of taking this engine out. So you know it's serious because we've got the tucked back braids. I took my rings off so that I don't rip my gloves as much. Fingers crossed we can get this engine out fairly quick. I think for simplicity for myself in the garage, the plan is to pull this out the top and leave the transmission. I've never pulled an NA engine before, so it's gonna be a learning process, but let's get to it. I would normally have the garage door open, but it is 90 degrees out and it's fairly cool in here, so I'd like to keep it that way. Okay, so fluids are draining. So there's our start. Then once the fluids are drained, I'm gonna take this out because it's really, really easy to take out and I don't wanna risk hitting it with anything. And then I think from there, we will disconnect the exhaust, work on disconnecting the bell housing bolts and try and pull this thing up. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to remove versus not, probably this. And then hopefully the weird issues that it has from being an automatic swap will go away because this engine is a manual. And we'll see about the wiring in the car. Okay, so I've made some progress. I took the radiator out and this intake hose. Now we need to take the actual intake out. And then I'm gonna take it out with the transmission, I've decided. So we're gonna disconnect the drive shaft and then the headers to the rest of the exhaust. So I think that should be pretty much all I need to disconnect outside of hoses to the heater core. So hopefully this is really easy. This is my first time pulling an NA engine. And then obviously we're gonna do the engine mounts as well. If I don't say it, somebody will comment on it, so I need to say it. Okay, so fluids are drained, radiator's out, intake tube is out. We need to pull the intake out. We need to disconnect the drive shaft. We need to disconnect the headers from the rest of the exhaust. Obviously, we're gonna have to disconnect some of these hoses back here for the heater core and all that. But I'm hoping to not have to disconnect too much since I'm pulling it all out and putting a whole new set back in there. I haven't decided yet. It's gonna depend. The engine I'm buying has a transmission currently attached to it. And then I'm buying another transmission as well. And then this transmission is good, but the spec Miata also needs a transmission right now. It's rapidly losing fourth gear. So kind of deciding which transmission is gonna go where, as well as we also have a very unknown transmission. So that's a whole other deal. But to get this out, which is what this video is about, hopefully just a few more things and then we can start pulling. So I've been trying for several days to make the progress I just made, and it's been a lot of having to leave because I'm very frustrated. I was not able to get the transmission bolts off the engine while it's in the car simply because they are just so freaking tight. Don't know what the deal is, and I honestly was like, you know what, whatever, it's probably easier just pull the engine and the trans together, so that's what I decided to do. Then the PPF bolts did not want to let go. And the engine mount bolts did not want to let go. And so I was getting very frustrated and just kept taking a break because it's better to just take a break for me than keep working through the frustration because I will end up getting hurt or upset or whatever, and to me it's just not worth it. Finally, I had the big impact and I got it off. So, yay. I still have one PPF bolt holding on. I sprayed it with some more WD-40 and I'm hoping that that will free it up. I now learned my lesson from doing the PPF on the NC. I don't know why I didn't know this, but I've never worked with a car with one of these before, but I didn't realize that when you unbolt it, the whole thing just falls. So lesson learned this time. I'm trying to go slow and I have the bolt kind of hanging in there so that the whole thing doesn't fall on me because I dropped the whole transmission on myself when I pulled the engine in the KNC. Yeah, that wasn't smart. I pulled the engine out without the trans. Then I was just pulling the transmission out because we swapped to a 6-speed in that. And I pulled the PPF off and I dropped the whole transmission on my collarbone. Very grateful I did not break my collarbone. But now my lesson is learned and I'm a little overly stressed out about it. But you know what? It's what it is. Fingers crossed the WD-40 will help get this last bolt out, and then we should be making progress toward pulling the engine. There's not really much to take off. I have the drive shaft left to take off, and then just some random hoses in the back of the engine. So, making progress. Okay, so update. I am super greasy and sweaty and gross. It's like 90 degrees and humid in the shop right now because it's raining and hot. So I'm disgusting. Ignore me. Wow, look at my hair. I haven't seen myself in a couple hours. Update. Let's move this. Engine is coming free. I had to remove the engine mounts not only from the engine but also from the subframe to get this. And then other than that, everything else was pretty straightforward, pretty obvious. The hardest things to remove were those fuel lines, probably because they're crusty and, you know, in their 30s. But ironically, I looked at the VIN tag on this, and this is this car's engine. It does have the VIN on the engine. So this is her motor. And let me tell you, she didn't want to come out. She's like, I've been here my whole life. No, but we've got her heart transplant and her old broken heart is about to come out and we're about to get her a new one. And I'm very excited. So yeah, let's pull this out the rest of the way. This is looking pretty good. Good news, I officially have a 1.6 and not one but 2 spare transmissions. So as well as 2 transmissions and my engine, I also picked up some knuckles, which are full Colette David spec with the neon green, which ironically the diff for the car is also neon green. I am really not a big neon green person, but here I am. Hopefully I don't have to use those knuckles, but I did get them just in case because last time I played with pulling the diff out, the axles didn't want to come apart from the knuckles, and just in case if it goes south, I wanted to just have spare knuckles on hand, and that way I don't have to worry about it, and we can just throw the knuckles in the car and everything will be fine. So those are just spares. Hopefully I don't need them and I can just use the ones that came in the car. Okay, before I wrap this up, I just wanted to talk about what was difficult on pulling my engine so that if you guys are struggling, maybe this will help you. So biggest thing was difficult was the engine mounts. I needed to not only pull them out of the subframe, I also needed to pull them off of the engine, which was quite annoying and a little bit difficult to do on my own. I started with the side of the headers, removed that one because there's a lot more access to that one if you can pull the headers off. And then I moved to the other side and I hooked up to the hook on top of the engine that I was lifting the engine with. And I went ahead and I hooked it to my tow hook on the Mini Cooper so that I can ratchet strap the engine over and tilt it towards the header side of the engine so that I could get the other engine mounts off. That was very annoying. Nothing on this car has been removed in 35 years. This is all OEM. So, the fuel lines also did not want to come out, and that was very difficult. Those were a struggle, and I really don't have any advice for you. I just sprayed a ton of lube on those, and I'm probably going to replace all of them since they're so old. So sorry I don't have any great advice. Those were my two biggest hiccups. The rest was all really easy. One bolt did just shear off of the transmission that holds on the wiring. I'm literally 0% concerned about that. But moving on from what was difficult, also the headers were, the O2 sensor was stripped. So that's why the headers are hanging out on the fender, because I couldn't get them off, and I'm not gonna cut the wiring. So I just sat the headers on there, and those are aftermarket headers, so they are extremely long. They run the length of the transmission, so I pulled those out separately. If you just have the OEM headers like this, shouldn't be a problem, but unfortunately mine had absolutely massive headers that go all the way to the end of the trans. That was a little annoying. On the rebuild side of this, or whatever you want to call it, I am not going to put the heat shield that these had on there. They had a track dog heat shield that you can see here. Personally, not really about it. Didn't really like it. So I am going to go ahead and wrap the headers. One, because I'm really good at wrapping them, and two, because I think it looks better and less messy in the engine bay to have this on the headers than it does to have the big shiny piece of heat shielding there. So that's the plan for that. I'm probably going to redo all of the lines in the engine bay, simply because, one, there's not that many, and two, they are like 35 years old. This thing is 100% OEM, so yeah, it's time to redo these lines. So we're going to redo the cooling hoses, redo the vacuum lines, redo these fuel lines. The clutch line and brake lines have been redone with stainless steel, so that part's already taken care of, thank goodness. But the rest of it, anything that goes to the engine, I will be redoing that. I basically just want to refresh this thing and make sure it's good. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and start sorting all of that, sort the new engine, get it nice and clean so that we can find if there's any leaks in the future, and try and regasket the whole thing. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helps you. Good luck if you are pulling your own NA engine. I wish you all the best. Peace out, and I will catch you guys in the next one.